On today's episode, House of the Dragon Season 2 begins production. Mario Brothers now being projected to make over $1 billion. The Batman spin-off Penguin adds a couple of new key casts that I'm actually very excited about. Jack Black's Peach's song from Mario is officially eligible for the Oscars. And of course, the first trailer for The Marvels has dropped. It looks great. The John Campea Show starts right now. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around to talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, and streaming, not just giving you opinions, but also giving you information and context so you can form your own well-informed opinions. I'm joined in here studio by Mr. Ray Ora, back there Taylor Gonzalez. Running the show is Jonathan Voico. Chris Carr is here, and most importantly, you guys are here. Thanks so much for making this show a part of your day, and here's how it's going to go. The first part of the show, we're going to talk about all those predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your questions that you guys have sent in and can send in anytime 24/7 at our tip link that you can see right here at streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Go ahead and fire those in, and we will get around to them on an upcoming show. All right, guys. With all that down and calling an audible, doing a off the top that even the crew doesn't know about, one of the movies that I've really shockingly been very excited about seeing. I didn't know what I thought. I'll be honest with you. When I first heard about it, I thought it sounded like another just quick paycheck movie for one Nicolas Cage. But then the trailers for Renfield came out. And I think Renfield has looked baller. I have loved the trailers. I think it actually looks fantastic. And I was kind of skeptical about it at first. Well, now the review embargo for Renfield has lifted, and it is currently holding a 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, granted, there's not a ton of reviews, but it's 24 critics have been counted so far, and it's holding an 83% right now. I expect it to drop a little bit, but it looks like it'll at least land in the mid-70s, maybe better. And to me, this is fantastic. Now, here's what a couple of them are saying. A couple of the big ones. The San Diego Reader writes, Robert Kirkman's story takes... sorry, I got the text is really small. Let me see if I can get a little bit bigger here. Robert Kirkman's story takes its pop psychology seriously, which is what makes its application here so much fun. When Cage bellows, I'm the real victim here, anyone who's ever known a narcissist may find themselves wincing through the grin. The Rap also seemed to like saying, Renfield is a great example of how Universal could resurrect its dark universe with characters, taking characters or questions audiences have wondered about and find a way to actually explore them. And it goes on. Empire Magazine gave it a positive review. The Times gave it a positive review. So far, again, only 24 reviews have been counted so far. But listen, if you had asked me the question when they first announced, hey, they're doing this movie called Renfield, Nicolas Cage is going to play Dracula. I mean, there has been
and
I don't know that I was, to be honest with you, because while he has done certain incredible things recently, like Pig, or things like The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which I'll be honest, I didn't think that was great, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite enjoyable.
Fun.
And he is an Academy Award winning actor, but still he has done with every one of those, he's done 3 or 4 of these really garbage throwaway Sunday morning on PBS movies that has just not, worked out or looked very good. So I didn't know what to expect from this, but I'll tell you what, I thought the trailers looked great, and I'm really happy to see that the reviews seem to be pretty solid for this. Anyway, Chris, you're seeing the critic response to it, and where's your expectation been for this movie?
Oh, I've been so hyped about this movie. Nicolas Cage as Dracula, that's all I needed. And then it was, and Nicholas Hoult is in this. Love him.
And I love him,
is in this. Love her. Ben Schwartz is the bad guy. Yes, please. Hello. I am very excited about this. I get to see this early, too, on Wednesday, so I am so hyped. I can't wait to talk to you guys about it.
Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? The critics, at least the vast majority of them, seem to actually quite like it. Who knew? Are you excited about seeing Renfield? Maybe you haven't even heard of it at this point. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. with that down, let's get on to this here, shall we? House of the Dragon, the HBO series, of course, the follow-up series, even though it's a prequel to Game of Thrones, probably the biggest pop cultural hit television show of all time, came out with some question marks because there were a lot of people who were not so excited about House of the Dragon because there are a bunch of people who didn't like the way the Game of Thrones ended. I am not one of those. I actually really liked the last couple seasons of Game of Thrones, set the record for most Emmy wins of any series ever in its final season. But, that fact remains, though, a lot of other people didn't like it. And so with that being the case, going into House of the Dragon, there were a lot of people online. I'm not watching that. They already burned their bridge with me and all that kind of stuff. But we all said, yeah, you will. You will go and check it out. I mean, whether or not it's going to be good or not, we don't know, but you're going to check it out. Well, watch it they did, and a lot of people did, and it is just one of simply the most incredible shows of the past couple of years. It's easily exceeded Game of Thrones season 1. I thought as a first season, I thought it just was absolutely exceptional, incredible. It was must-watch TV. I was counting down the days every week to Sunday so I could watch a new episode. Now, the one frustrating thing that then came of that was the fact that after the season ended, we were like, they currently don't know, and it's certainly not going to be on TV next year or in 2023. So we're going to have to at least wait for that and still no word about it going into production. Well, going into production, it has done. As the reports have now come out that Game of Thrones, or House of the Dragon, I should say, season 2, it's official. The official Twitter account went online and announced production is now underway. And if you scroll down a little bit there, Jonathan, I think you might even be able to see the tweet that they put out a little bit lower. That's where it is. It's time to return to King's Landing. The picture from the set there, of course, is the epic and iconic Iron Throne. And if you want a little bit of context for just how successful season 1 was, look at this little comparison. Succession, one of the most celebrated shows out there right now. Many people feel it's the best show on TV right now. And it's incredibly popular. It just had season 4, episode 3 air, the latest episode, with the highest ratings and viewership for this series so far at 2.5 million viewers.
What could beat it?
That's impressive. Nothing can beat it, Jonathan.
Yeah,
nothing will beat that. Oh, wait. House of the Dragon's last episode garnered 9.3 million viewers. Nearly 4 times as many viewers for the last episode of House of the Dragon versus the last episode of Succession, which is a hugely successful show, winning all the awards, strong viewership, just set a series record with 2.5 million viewers. That's just how popular this show is, House of the Dragon. Nearly 10 times the viewers with its season finale. So obviously there's a lot of excitement, expectation. I still feel like it was a bit of a mistake not to have this thing going into production while season 1 was airing, to be honest with you. But I kind of get it a little bit with the fact that with a lot of the negative, sentiment out there regarding Game of Thrones and how it ended, maybe they weren't really sure how House of the Dragon was going to go over. But that's all behind us. Mm-hmm. The important thing is season 2 is now in production. It's the tangibilization of it, and I cannot wait. Now, they probably... I already got some messages from some people saying, hey, if they can shoot it quickly, do you think we could get season 2 this year? No, we're not going to get in 2023, unfortunately. But
that's a lot of post.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of post-production and a lot of shooting. I mean, this is going to take a while to shoot. So 2024 is probably the best bet. They even hinted at one point that it might not be till 2025.
Yep.
I have a feeling that it will be 2024 sometime. But anyway, Chris, you saw the news. Game of Thrones, it is a Game of Thrones universe. The House of the Dragon season 2 is now in production. Mm-hmm. Are you surprised it took them this long to get into production? How are you feeling now that it is? What were your thoughts on season 1? What do you think?
It's so easy now to look at it and say, I can't believe they weren't filming and going straight into the second season. They had to know they were going to get greenlit. But when you look at how the other Game of Thrones properties have been treated, HBO has been really playing things close to the chest, right? They have been really, really taking their time and making sure things are well received, well done. They scrapped that whole Naomi Watts one. There have been all these kinds of rumors
that
about
they had
other
spent
spin-offs.
tens of millions of dollars on.
So much money on. And then they went, not worth it, not good enough. We're going to just scrap this and move on to the next project. So I can understand why they were a little hesitant to go ahead and jump in here. That being said, so well received, so well done. I know a lot of you disagreed with me. The finale for me was, okay, so now this is the story. Now it's this. And now I have to wait. No. And it really, really made me annoyed. I so defer with you, and I am a woman of the people. I did not like the last few episodes of Game of Thrones.
Oh, I know.
Daenerys would never look back at the seasons. Daenerys would never. I hate it. I hate it so much.
You know, it's funny because Ann and I used to do a after show for Game of Thrones, and like 3.5, 4 years before the season ended, I was telling people on the show, Daenerys is Breaking Bad. They're making it so obvious. I said it for years. They're making it so obvious. She's Breaking Bad. She is a jerk. Daenerys is all about Daenerys. She puts on this facade about being about the people. She's all about herself. And I said that for years, and everybody told me I was an idiot. And then when she did break bad, everybody went, well, that came out of nowhere. And I'm like, no, I've been telling you for years this was going to happen. But
I think the best thing that came out of this.
None of those were my problems.
No?
No. My problem was that they killed off the second dragon because they knew that was going to be too easy if Jon Snow had a dragon of his own. So they'd kill off that dragon. They didn't go back to any of the other subplots that they had created throughout the series. They rush. It became the Rise of Skywalker. It was like, we're here, we're there, we're here, we're there. We're all here, and it's over.
It was brilliant. But as somebody who thinks it was brilliant being in the minority, I did have two significant problems with it. One you just alluded to, Jonathan, was there was no excuse for the final season of Game of Thrones to be that rushed. For the final 2 seasons, there was simply no reason to shorten the final seasons. And that made certain elements certainly feel rushed. My second problem with the season was suddenly distance was not an issue in the realms. Because they would go, okay, we're at the wall. Well, I should go talk to the queen at King's Landing. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, what took episodes and episodes and episodes of journey were suddenly like 5 minutes.
They started to travel by map. It got so much easier. Map.
Well, they learned from Luke.
It was frustrating.
Luke was able to
shift around. The best thing that happened from the Daenerys arc, though, is how many people named their babies Daenerys, and then it was
that was the best. I remember seeing a news story in, I think it might have been People did a story about that, about a number of couples who literally named their baby daughters Daenerys before, of course, it's like, well,
Ruh-roh.
That's what you get for doing something like that. Anyway, we're here talking about House of the Dragon. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? House of the Dragon Season 2, incredible television, is now in production. Probably still a long wait before we see it, but at least we know it's being shot right now. Whatever you guys think about that, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Now, I should mention one other thing, though. One of the reasons I was surprised that this news came out today was, I shared this with you guys a while. I got an invitation a while ago. And you can bring that up, Jonathan. So I got this invitation to this. Now, this went out weeks ago. Okay. This went out weeks ago. So there is an event being held at Warner Brothers lot. They're even serving breakfast, damn it.
Nice.
They're going to serve breakfast. Now, I am not going to go because I don't go to press stuff anymore. But I thought for sure that they would have held off on any announcement like this till tomorrow. So Scott and I this morning were kind of talking about, I wonder if they're going to drop maybe a little teaser tomorrow for Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon Season 2. Now, they've only been shooting for a couple of days, but remember, a teaser could seriously just be the iconic music with the title screen coming in, or some audio clips from Season 1 as images are moving. Or, hey, let's not forget, at Comic-Con a bunch of years ago, when Guardians of the Galaxy had literally been shooting for 6 days, James Gunn brought a Guardians of the Galaxy trailer to Comic-Con, even though it only been shooting for a few days. So I expect that maybe some kind of little teaser, even if there's no new footage, might be shown tomorrow. Anyway, that's that. All right.
Why don't you want a free breakfast?
I mean, you're right.
That's a ways to go for a free breakfast, though.
It is a long ways to go for a free breakfast.
You flip it for where we're
and you know what?
at.
It's one of those studio free breakfasts. It's probably going to be some croissants with hard butter. Like me.
Just go across the street to Smokehouse, get some, bread.
It's been a while since I've been to Smokehouse. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to the next topic here. And that one is this. I don't know if you heard, but that little Mario Brothers movie did pretty well. It did all right at the box office. I had predicted for a while that it was going to end up being the number one box office film of the year. I predicted that for months. Now, after seeing it, I don't think it will be the number one film of the year overall anymore. I thought it was a really fun movie. I had a great time. You can go see our out of the theater reaction for it, but I didn't quite think it was good enough that it will generate enough return business and all that kind of stuff to be number one film of the year, but it's going to be huge. And huge it was. Now, we went over some of these records yesterday, but let's just refresh here a little bit. These are some of the box office records that Mario Brothers has already set, okay? It is the biggest opening for any movie of 2023 so far. It is the biggest Wednesday to Sunday opening of all time. Now, granted, that's not a huge pool of movies that have done that historically, but there are a bunch, and it is the biggest opening for that time window of all time. It is the biggest opening for any film that Illumination has ever done. It is the second biggest animated film opening in history, only behind The Incredibles 2, which opened with $183 million in its opening weekend. And it is the biggest video game adaptation of all time. But it's not just the biggest video game adaptation of all time, opening, I should say, of all time. It has lapped every other video game adaptation ever. Look at this. These are the biggest openings for video game adaptations ever. In the second spot is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which we all like around here, at $72 million. Super Mario Brothers has literally more than doubled it. Listen, guys, when records get broken, it's always significant, right? But usually when records get broken, it's by 5%. The new 100-meter dash record by 2/100ths of a second. A new box office record. Oh, it passed it by $8 million. The biggest, up until 2 weeks ago, the biggest opening for a video game adaptation movie ever in history was $72.1 million. Super Mario Brothers at 146.4 has more than doubled it. That doesn't happen often in the world of movies where a previous record of any kind gets doubled.
Yeah.
Now, let's go down that list a little bit. Then, of course, we had Sonic was dominating the top of that list for a while because the first one was the biggest at 58. Pokemon Detective Pikachu was at 54. Lara Croft's Tomb Raider in 2001. That's the one with Angelina Jolie at 47. Uncharted, which was last year. Ray's movie at 44 million. Angry Birds movie at 38. And Dwayne Johnson's Rampage at 35.8. And right up there again at the top, Super Mario Brothers at 146. Well, now they are saying that certain analysts in the industry are now saying that they expect that this movie is going to pass the $1 billion mark at this point. So here's what's being said. What's his name again? David Gibson, who is a senior analyst for MST. He said this. Gibson estimates that the movie will earn $1.2 billion at the box office. 1.2 billion is what they're saying right now, which would be pretty insane and pretty huge and make it one of the only films in more recent time, we can go back full screen, to go actually that big to join the $1 billion club. Not many movies. Now, back in 2018, 2019, joining the $1 billion club is always a huge, huge deal. But in 2018 and 19, 17, 18, 19, we were seeing it happen at a little bit more of a better clip. I think the 1 year Disney had in one span of 2 years, Disney had 6 movies join the $1 billion club. It was crazy. But obviously since the pandemic, new memberships to the $1 billion club has slowed. Spider-Man No Way Home, one of those. Top Gun Maverick was one of those. Has there been another one? Or those are the only two?
Morbius came close.
Close.
That's true.
Just a bit short. Just a little short, the Morbius game, but I think those are the only two.
Jurassic World.
Avatar.
Jurassic World did cross it, and thank you, and Avatar, obviously, which the third biggest film of all time. So, in the past number of years, what are we at there? Four, and wait, Jurassic World did cross the billion. I know it was at the high 900s, but double check that. If maybe it did cross, we might have even talked about it here. But even if it did, that's 4 right there in the last number.
It made it, yeah.
It did. So it crossed that $1 billion. I knew it was sitting at the high 900s for a while. That's 4. That's pretty damn impressive. And again, it should be pointed out, when you look at a couple of the other movies on that list, like Uncharted, right? Sonic 2. These are movies that crossed the $400 million mark at the box office, but it took them months to do it. Months to cross the $400 million mark. Super Mario Brothers is going to do it in a week. It's going to do it in a week. And again, I brought up this comparison yesterday, again, just for context, but a movie I like very much, Shazam 2. I like Shazam 2 very much. In 5 days, Super Mario Brothers tripled what Shazam 2 made in its entire theatrical run. Again, it's just a matter of context. And it's going to cross Black Adam in a week as well. It's going to make more money than Black Adam.
Yeah.
Got to bring up the Black Adam one, of course. I mean, this is staggering numbers. Now, what kind of legs is it going to have? We'll have to wait and see. Not a lot of stiff competition coming up this week. I mean, we got Renfield and a few other things. I don't expect those to make a huge splash at the box office. So, I mean, it could be big. Anyway, Chris, we're looking at these numbers because it's great to hear Mario Brothers has done great. Mm-hmm. But when you hold it up against what it's done great against, and you see that gap, like how much it exceeded previous records, now you're hearing projections that it could make over $1 billion, maybe up to $1.2 billion at the box office. What are your first thoughts when you hear about this?
I mean, my first thought when it was Mario's going to hit 1 billion, I was like, John's going to be insufferable and be like, I knew it. So you're doing really well today, bud. You're like,
well, I think a lot of people,
okay.
I mean, I'm not in rare company. I think a lot of people felt Mario could join the $1 billion club.
And certainly the folks over at Universal really, really believed in it too. They've really been putting a lot of backing behind this. It's great to see. It is wild compared to Sonic, just because I've especially that first one has such a good story in addition to being a really, really fun ride. But this is so visually compelling. There's so many Easter eggs and everything. It's a fun time. Look at him getting stacks on stacks on stacks. We love that for Mario. We love to see an Italian plumber thrive. But I do think this is going to have really, oh God, why?
Sorry,
why do we have this?
Illuminating with money.
I hate it. I do think this is going to have good legs, though. I mean, like I talked about the other day, so many kids at the movie theater that I go to were just coming in full cosplay and everything. This is a movie that I think a lot of people are going to go for a repeat visit for, too, especially since there's not a lot of other fare in theaters right now. I'll probably make a double feature out of seeing Renfield in this just to have some levity. I think it's going to do really, really well. And it's wild just to see how something that's so recognizable like this that maybe wasn't executed in the way that everyone was hoping for. You know, we keep coming back to the story's not great. It's visually compelling, but the story is not awesome in this. It really doesn't matter here, it feels. Everyone's just really, really diving in for it.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you make about this? When you start looking at it in its context, it's really becoming even more and more impressive just how big Mario has been so far. Can it continue that kind of momentum of success? Whatever you guys think about that, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move over to our Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. If you guys have a question for the show and would like to hear your voice on the show, go ahead and call our hotline number anytime at 951-268-4259. And speaking of Mario, we got a question here about what comes next. Check it out.
Hey, John. This is Nathan from Utah. With the huge success of the Mario movie, I think it's inevitable we'll get a sequel, but maybe Nintendo will be open to other franchises being adapted like The Legend of Zelda, which I think should be the next one. So my question is, what animation studio do you guys think should take up Zelda? Personally, I don't think Illumination's style would work great for a fantasy epic like Zelda, so should they stick with Universal and maybe go with DreamWorks, or maybe see if the Studio Ghibli might want to do it, or maybe even Disney if they're open to it? What do you guys think? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for calling that in, Nathan. Look, first of all, let's start with the question about like who, if it is Zelda, and we'll get to Zelda in a second. If it is Zelda, what, studio should Nintendo partner up with to make it? We just talked about how them partnering up with Illumination has broken at least a half a dozen box office records around the world. And not just broken records, shattered the shit out of them.
Shattering shit.
with more than
Sounds like Steve.
doubling. Conversations before the show starts. With more than doubling what was the previous record for a biggest opening of a video game movie of all time. And I would contend that while, yeah, Mario, the movie, as enjoyable as it is, and I had a great time with it, it does have a weaker story, much like the games themselves. But Illumination does have a track record of making some fun animated movies that do have some pretty good stories at their heart. Not all of them, but a couple of them really do. So when you look at this, I think if Nintendo suddenly decided they were going to make their next movie with a different animation studio, I have a feeling their shareholders would kind of revolt. Like, what the hell are you talking about? We have a partnership with this company, and they just shattered every record that it could possibly shatter. And, you know, you bring up some other neat names. Like, what about Disney? Disney would never get involved with somebody else's property. So that's off the table. Studio Ghibli is magnificent if Nintendo doesn't want to make any money. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's not like Studio Ghibli movies blow up the American box office. So, I mean, as they make marvelous, magnificent, all-time great movies. Yes. But if Nintendo wants to make money on these things, you're much better off going with an Illumination. So I just don't see any reason why they would even contemplate moving on from Illumination on that. So I think that's clear. As far as what is next, it's clearly got to be Zelda. Like, other than the idea of Mario 2, of course, but other than that, it's Zelda. Look, what happens here quite often is that, you know, a video game movie does well. Or right, let's say a comic book movie does well. Say Logan as an X-Men character. Well, inevitably what happens then is you get a lot of us movie fans will say, well, if Logan can work, this mutant in the comic books can work, you can do Shashafat Boy, who was in issue 5 in 1973. It's like, well, yeah, but Logan's a special case. You know, a lot of people have been writing in and talking about, well, with Mario being so successful, they could do this semi-obscure Nintendo game, this semi-obscure Nintendo game. But you got to remember, there's not many Marios out there. The next closest thing to Mario that has the multiple generational following that even comes close to Mario under Nintendo's umbrella would be Link and the Zelda games. I mean, that seems to be the next, and not to mention, like, there's a lot of people, I think it's de facto understood that Breath of the Wild is probably the greatest Nintendo game ever made. Some people I've watched some YouTube videos about it. Some people consider it to be the greatest video game movie ever made, or video game ever made, period. And of course, we've got a new Zelda game, the follow-up to Breath of the Wild, coming out here. So I think it's a pretty clear-cut thing that it should be Zelda. Not to mention, we've also heard some whispers that the studio's already looking at developing a Zelda movie. So that's out there too. Of course, it brings up the question about what do you do about Link, who doesn't talk in the video games, but you know they're going to make him talk in the movie, and that's fine. They should. But yeah, so number one, you stick with Illumination. 100,000% you do, especially with the success you're having with them. And they delivered a very entertaining movie. Like, I just was talking about the financial success that they had, but also, most importantly, despite the lack of story, it was an incredibly entertaining movie. And if you can deliver an entertaining movie that brings home possibly $1 billion, you don't break up that thing. And then which movie could it be other than Mario 2? I think it's got to be Link. I really can't think of anything else that remotely comes close. A lot of people will say Metroid. A lot of people might say this, that, but really, I think that's the next logical one. Chris, we talked a lot about, now this is the financial success of the Mario Brothers movie. With that being the table that is set, where does Nintendo go next with what project they do? And should they look at maybe partnering with another animation studio? How do you see it?
Well, if they were to partner with somebody else, I would love for them to work with, like, Fortiche. I think that's how you say it. The folks who did Arcane. Because that animation style, I think, would be really, really great here. And that'd be cool. I would love a Studio Ghibli version, but gosh, do those movies take forever to do. It's, you know, it's all hand-drawn animation. It takes a while. The folks who did, they worked with Netflix. I can't think of the name of their studio, but the folks who did Klaus. That's also traditional 2D animation that is really, really stunning, though. And all of that would be great. But all that said, they are already in bed with Universal and Illumination, right? Especially because now we have Nintendo World. So that's something too that's going to be very enticing
Which is
to add
at
on.
Universal
It's
Studios
Universal,
Hollywood.
yeah. They're going to add, I would love for them to have, Zelda's castle and stuff and have more of Hyrule in there. That'd be incredible to do. Make it a whole spectacle, have a whole bunch of other stuff in there. So I think they're probably going to stay with those folks. That makes the most sense. And while I love the idea of a like Zelda movie, a Link movie, again, the voice is a troubling thing. It's Kengo Tanashi, I think is how you say it. Tenkashi? I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Who does the exertion noises for Link right now? All of those, right? So like, you could do that, or I guess you could just kind of try to figure out how you're going to have this character. He could just be a man of few words, right?
He did speak in the 80s cartoon, though.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
princess.
Yeah, they need to avoid
we
that.
need to not have that.
That's
that needs
exactly
to not
what I
be
was
there.
looking for.
It makes a skin crawl. But I mean, you could treat him like a Mandalorian character, right? He's very, very softly spoken and a man of few words. Maybe we go that route. And then everyone else is usually talking at or to Link, much like the game. But Star Fox is what I want more. Give me that now.
I've heard Star Fox brought up a couple times, and I think there's some real potential there for how visually compelling that could be and how fun it could be. But does it have the built-in following and the built-in, generational fan base that something like a Link or a Mario, or not just Star Fox, does anything else under Nintendo's umbrella carry that kind of weight that those two properties do?
I mean, it really is them, right? And you can kind of go through the pantheon of Super Smash Bros, right? And we could do a Kirby movie or something like that. But again, everyone's going to fall a little short of those two pieces of IP. I want all those other movies, though. And honestly, like a Link movie, a Zelda movie, is really the thing that I think has the most potential to get screwed up. And so that's why I'm a little hesitant to say, yeah, that's exactly what they should do next. If it works, it's going to be so great. If it doesn't fire on all cylinders, oof, that's going to be a stench that's going to be hard to remove.
That could be their Lord of the Rings.
It could.
I mean, it's just, but
Or it could be an Excuse Me, Princess.
Anyway, guys.
That one.
Question is for you. What do you think about this? What is the next move for Nintendo here after Super Mario Brothers? Obviously a sequel, yes. But what other than that? Do you agree that the logical conclusion is Link and Zelda? Do you think they should look at working with another studio, or is it a foregone conclusion that they should absolutely stay with Illumination and probably have a deal with them already? Whatever you guys think about that, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Now, while it is true that Link does not speak, I'll tell you what he does do. He shaves his balls.
How dare you?
Thanks to our sponsor here of today's show, our friends at Manscaped, and also the wonderful folks at Fume. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Manscaped. Gentlemen, if you didn't already know, it's tax season here in the US, and you know what that means? It means that Manscaped is here to make sure your paperwork is done and your boys downstairs are having fun. Make sure you spend your tax return money on the important things in life, like family, friends, and ball deodorant. Join the 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code Campea. Guys, you know I love all my Manscaped products, from the body wash to the lawnmower, an elegant tool for a more enlightened age. So what better way to invest your tax return than into yourself? Manscaped has the full package from head to toe to make sure you get your money's worth this April. The Performance Package 4.0 is the ultimate bundle you need to reinvent yourself and your confidence. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is the star of the show, offering a precise shave on all your widest hedges, equipped with an LED light so you can navigate in and out of those difficult areas with ease. The Performance Package 4.0 now includes Manscaped's brand new Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer. And don't forget, for all my international friends out there with a little bit of scruff, Manscaped now has beard products. The start of spring also marks the start of Testicular Cancer Awareness Month in April. Manscaped has partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code Campea at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code Campea at manscaped.com. Don't just get your money back this year, get your swagger back too with Manscaped. Guys, we want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Listen, cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there is a better way to break your habits. And we're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your crazy neighbor or putting Vaseline on your feet under your socks. No, we're talking about our sponsor, Fume, and they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong, so instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? And Fume is an innovative, award-winning device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fumes is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air, and instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all-natural, delicious flavors. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. When I first got my Fume, I couldn't believe how beautiful the design was. It's perfectly weighted, and when I breathed it in the first time, I was blown away by just how fresh it tasted. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use the code Campea to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use the code Campea to save an additional 10% off your order today. And thank you to our friends at Manscaped and Fume for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Remember, guys, when you go and check out and support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So if you go down to the description of this video, you'll find links and promo codes to our sponsors. And thank you again to Manscaped and Fume. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Matt Reeves had The Batman come out, and despite the fact that The Batman, that movie, had several big hurdles in front of it, a lot of confusion about, wait a minute, I thought Ben Affleck was Batman, all this kind of stuff. The fact that the DC universe was struggling a little bit with all that. The fact that some people, a lot of people, just couldn't get over the fact that Robert Pattinson was going to be the new Batman because they hadn't watched any of the incredible work that he had done in the last decade. They'd only known him from Twilight and all that kind of stuff. So it had a lot of hurdles that it had to get over. And jump them they did, as that movie made over $700 million at the box office and also introduced us to a surprisingly magnificent character, Colin Farrell's Penguin. Now, I was like a lot of everybody else, like, Colin Farrell is Penguin? Really? That's interesting. And then when the first shots of him as Penguin came out, I would never guess. I would never know that that was Colin Farrell in a million years. And then when the movie came out, not only did he look great, he was fabulous in that role. And so when the announcement came that they were going to make a Penguin HBO spinoff series, I got very excited. I know a lot of you guys are really excited about it too. Well, production is now underway for that movie. And reports have now come out that even though they've just started production, they have now added 2 brand new cast members to the movie, and I'm excited about both of them. The new cast members are Francois Chow and Carmen Ejogo. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name properly. Now, I love Chow. Love him. Now, he's done some big things. First of all, you might remember him from The Secret of the Ooze. He was Shredder. That's where a lot of people are going to be excited about that. He was Master Shredder. He was also, of course, a recurring guy in Lost. He was recently in The Expanse, which is one of the greatest sci-fi shows of all time. I, however, personally, will always remember him most from the one season, I believe it only lasted one season, of Amazon's The Tick, where he played Arthur's stepdad. And he was so funny in that. I love this guy, so he's joining it. Carmen, of course, was in Fantastic Beasts. She was in Selma, Your Honor, True Detective, and she's going to be in the upcoming Marvel's Secret Invasion as well. So they're adding really good talent here, which is great to go along with Colin Farrell. Now, I am already just excited about the idea about them exploring this world, because one of the things Matt Reeves did so well in that Batman movie is, I know a lot of movie fans, whenever there's a new Batman movie, one of the first things we look at is Gotham itself. And how well did they do Gotham? And I think it's been said before about other projects, but I don't think it's ever been more true. Matt Reeves made Gotham feel like a living, breathing character in the movie.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Well done, Matt. I loved just the interpretation and the representation of Gotham. It felt like the most Gotham to the comic books that I think I've ever felt in any of the movies. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Matt Reeves' The Batman is better than Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. But I think the representation of Gotham, I actually think I preferred in Matt Reeves' version of it. So anyway, I love this news. You're throwing in a couple of performances I really like to a show I'm already excited about. I cannot wait to see Penguin. Anyway, Chris, you hear about the new additions. What do you think?
Oh, this is great. Man, Carmen is having a banger year. She and her team must be so happy. What an amazing slot of programs to be involved with. Oh my gosh. Such talented actors. The Tick was criminally underrated.
So underrated. I'm so
good.
glad you said that.
It's such a good show. And they are just such an excellent addition. Oh, over here we've got David Holmes. He was in the Hulu version of High Fidelity, which again,
that's right,
criminally underrated show. More people need to watch that. Zoe Kravitz killed it on that show. It was so good, and he was delightful.
She played her mom's role from the movie.
She was Catwoman.
You said High Fidelity.
Sorry, High Fidelity.
Yeah.
I was like in Batman.
Oh, because you watched. I thought you were saying she was in High Fidelity.
She was in High
also.
Fidelity too. Yeah, she was not. She was John Cusack's part.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry, my brain like had a meltdown. I was like, she's in Batman, Matt Reeves. What are you talking about? Anywho, and then Kristen Milioti, who was the mother on How I Met Your Mother, who was in Palm Springs. She's in the cast too, and so I think they've just assembled a really great ensemble here that's really going to flesh out this world a lot. I'm a big Tim Burton and Paul Dini, like Bruce Timm Batman fan. I love that version of Gotham. And I always felt like the Matt Reeves one was kind of a more modern take that kind of mixed that one with a little bit of Batman Beyond, right? It felt like a very gritty but still high-tech kind of city. It felt like a very bustling metropolis. So I'm really excited to explore more of this dark underworld that's happening in there, because Gotham as a character is really fun. I'm just dropping everything here.
I feel like Gotham in the Matt Reeves version did echo a little bit of the video game of the Arkham games.
Yes.
There was even
scenes, Yes, it did.
There was even scenes where whenever they're in the construction site where he would meet with, his secret meetings. Mm-hmm. In the background, like the radio news tower, that was straight out like from the Arkham Asylum games.
It's totally off topic, but I want to follow that thread about Amazon's The Tick.
Okay.
Now, I have loved every iteration of The Tick. The Tick original comics are the funniest comic books I've ever read. Right up there with Milk and Cheese. Boy, bonus points to any of you who know Milk and Cheese. But if you've not read Milk and Cheese, read Milk and Cheese. They are dairy gone bad, is the kind of thing. Anyway, but the original Tick comics are some of the absolute funniest comics, probably the funniest comic I've ever read. Then you had the Tick series that ran with the guy from Seinfeld, Putty from Seinfeld.
Patrick Warburton.
I've never known his name, actually. I just love him a lot.
Yeah.
His voice is great. He does
incredible.
one of the voices in Family Guy too.
Yeah, he oh gosh, I can't think of his name right now. He's the cop on it. Joe.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, Joe. He's so funny in that, but his version of the Tick was also fantastic. I loved it. And then Amazon decided to do their Tick. And I think it's the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's Peter Serafinowicz.
Oh my God, and Arthur, it's so good. And I think it would only lasted one season. Maybe it did two, but I think it was only one. Anyway, criminally underrated. If you haven't watched that Tick iteration, you should go watch it. It's on there. Anyway, we're here to talk about the Penguin. Looks great. Love the new casting. Can't wait for this show to come out. Question is for you guys. What do you think about the new additions to the cast of the Penguin? Maybe you're not even all that interested in the show. Maybe you weren't a big fan of the Batman. Whatever your case is, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. We've been talking a lot today about the Super Mario Brothers movie for good reason. It's like one of the most incredible, biggest success already of 2023, breaking all kinds of records, super enjoyable film, all that good stuff. But I think it's safe to say for most people that one of the, if not the most memorable part of the movie wasn't even with Mario. It was Bowser and his song Peaches, which it's one of those moments in a movie where you got to really focus on inhaling, because I was laughing so hard. It was a little bit of a struggle to breathe. It was just so damn funny. And it's funny because when it started, I thought, this is cheesy. As he starts a song and he's playing the piano, I thought this is cheesy. In about 15 seconds, like, oh my God, this is one of the greatest things I've seen on a screen in a long time. And I said on this show, maybe last week, I said, I'm going to revolt if this does not get an Oscar nomination for Best Original Song. Because here's the thing. I believe that Best Original Song should not just be a great song. It should be a song that elevates the movie itself. That isn't of itself, really a part of the movie and elevates it. I often find it a bit of a cop-out a little bit when oftentimes the best songs from a movie nominees are just songs that play over the end credits. That it's not really a part of the movie, And listen, many of those songs are great and I have no problem with them. Annie Lennox's Into the West is one of those, and that's one of the most deserving Oscar wins ever for a best song. But when a song can be actually like a part of the movie, that to me is really special, and that's why I felt so much like it could. Well, Variety then picked up on that and ran the story that the Peaches song from Super Mario Bros. Is indeed eligible for the Oscars for Best Original Song. It is absolutely going to be eligible for that. Now, that is not to say that it will get one of those nominations, but again, and I'm not just saying it because I really like the Mario movie, that is, number one, a great song, and number two, a song that is intrinsically a part of the film, unlike 90% of the nominees for Best Song, which just play over the end credits. So I am very excited about this. And by the way, did you see that they released the clip of the song on YouTube? And it was the number 2 trending video in the world on YouTube, was him, the Peaches song. This must be nominated. I don't know what happened to Celine Dion's Ashes
from
from
I'm so mad about it.
I mean, I don't know what happened to that. Like, to this day, I don't know. Was it a qualification issue? Was it maybe something technically about the song that couldn't qualify? Because that song should not only have been nominated for Best Song of the Year in a movie, it should have won. Like, it should have won. It's freaking Celine Dion. The song
she
itself is
only
great.
goes to 11.
This only goes to 11. One of the greatest things ever. Anyway, Chris,
that song is fantastic. Celine Dion kills it. And the fact that it wasn't nominated is just outrageous. When you look at other comedic songs that have been nominated, I love him. If you look at Blame Canada, or if you look at some things like, was it Muppet of a Man? I'm a Muppet. Like, those songs are really, really great songs too that have impact on the actual storyline and everything. Peaches is great and super, super fun. And I would be lying to you if I didn't say I've been listening to it every day. It's one of the things I listen to in the parking lot here to get all revved up. It's super, super fun. But is it Oscar worthy? I don't know. It's also really early to say, and we are in that Mario glow right now. We're all just basking on Rainbow Road. I don't know if this is one that really deserves to be nominated because it feels mostly like Jack Black just riffing.
Come on, man.
And I love him so much. If you did not fall in love with him in The Holiday, you do not deserve him at his Bowser. He is perfect. He's perfect in every way. And I love him in this role so much, but I just don't know if it's Oscar worthy, Here's what I see where you're coming from, but here's where I would differentiate from you a little bit. Okay.
I don't think the song, unlike Ashes or Into the West or a number of the other songs, I don't think the Peaches song is Grammy worthy. But again, going back to what I was saying before, it is a song that is a part of the movie itself. It's a song that by itself elevates the movie, right? Again, as opposed to all these other great songs that just play over credits at the end. I mean, this song, these are film awards. And this song's actually a part of the film. And it creates, this is a matter of opinion, but maybe the most enjoyable and most fun moment of the film. And it's all because of this song. And if that doesn't get you in the discussion for the Oscar for Best Song of a Movie, again, maybe not Grammy worthy, maybe not Best Song of the Year, period. It doesn't belong in that race, but as a part of a movie, I guess it'll all depend on how the Academy looks at it, I guess.
Yeah, well, and for sure other songs that come up throughout the year too. So it could be a contender. It could be up there. Also, if you want some really great Peaches art, go to Tanya LaHoo's Instagram. She has the best Peaches drawing ever. She's wearing a Bowser sweatshirt, and I want that sweatshirt to be real. Go check it out.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Variety is reporting exclusively that, yes, the Peaches song from the Mario movie is indeed, we had our doubts, but will be eligible for an Academy Award nomination. Do you think it deserves it? Do you think it will get it? Maybe not. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our final topic here today, shall we? And that one is this. You know, considering where we're in here, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. November is still 7 months away. Quite frankly, it is too early to be dropping trailers for a movie that's coming out in 7 months, being the Marvels. But since it is the Marvels, and I'm kind of looking forward to this movie quite a bit, I was, of course, really excited yesterday when we found out and they announced that they would be dropping the first trailer for the Marvels today. And I wonder if part of the reason they're dropping it this far too early has something to do with the way it will position itself with Secret Invasion. Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll find out. But this morning, I think they debuted it on Good Morning America. I'm not 100% for sure. This morning came the first trailer for the Marvels. 2 thoughts. Thought number 1, it does not feel the way I thought it would feel. I don't know for sure what it was I was expecting out of it, but I wasn't expecting the feel and the tone and whatever that it had. Because, and this will go into point number 2 in a second here, because honestly, to me, the tone and the feel of it, it does not feel like Captain Marvel 2. It feels like Ms. Marvel Season 2. Mm-hmm. This very much, and I don't think Captain Marvel, the first Brie Larson one, was top shelf MCU, but I thought it was kind of on the second shelf, you know, like the original Ant-Man, the first Doctor Strange. I kind of put it there, like good, solid, enjoyable movie. Not top shelf, but I had a good time with it. But it had one specific tone, and I was kind of expecting it to feel like a Captain Marvel 2. But in reality, to me, it felt more like Kamala Khan. It felt like more like the Miss Marvel show. And that leads into point number 2 that I thought I had about it. That in no way is a bad thing. Because I'm going to tell you what, I surprisingly adored the trailer. And I think it is because of point 1 that it felt like Ms. Marvel. Look, I know there's still probably a bunch of people that have not seen Ms. Marvel. It's fucking brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's just so warm and enjoyable. And it just makes your heart smile. And I love the family. And I love the fact that they had her family in this trailer. And I love her mom too, just the way, this cold way she's talking to Nick Fury, Captain Marvel. And she's like, where is my daughter? It's just like cold, straight up. I love those characters. I love that family so much. The scene where Brie Larson apparently pops up in the middle of a Bollywood dance scene, the little push and thing aside. I love that. But I'm telling you right now, good Canadian girl, Iman Vellani, is going to steal this movie. She's going to be acting alongside an Academy Award winner. And I can already tell you she is going to steal this movie because this trailer, and listen, I'm looking forward to the whole cast. I like Brie Larson very much. I like the Captain Marvel character. I liked whatever they're going to end up calling Rambeau's character, whether they call her Photon or something else in this. I liked her a lot in WandaVision. I did. And I was kind of thought, understandably so, that Iman Vellani, Kamala Khan, was going to be kind of the third level character. And she might be when we see the movie. But from the trailer, it kind of looks like hers. Oh my God, I laughed so hard in that scene where she pops up wherever Captain Marvel was and she's with the cat. And the cat eats the 2 things. And her reaction to it was just brilliant. I just loved it. And now, of course, this is coming from a guy who loved the show so much. So the fact that this trailer felt a lot like the show, obviously that's going to predispose me to probably enjoying it more than maybe a lot of other people. Again, we don't know anything about the story yet. I mean, it does kind of set up an explanation for what happened in the post-credit scene of Ms. Marvel, right? So it kind of gives us understanding, okay, somehow, some way, these 3 characters, their powers are intertwined. And something has happened that when one of them uses their powers, it causes a Freaky Friday situation where they swap places. Got that, but we don't really know that. Now, obviously, we have another accuser in this, right? So we see somebody carrying around the same kind of hammer that Ronan the Accuser walk around. So we've got our new accuser is there. Great. But we really don't know the story, and that's fine. first trailer that comes out 7 months in advance doesn't need to give us that. So I don't know what to tell you, except that it's not as good as the Ahsoka trailer, but I smiled completely from start to end of this trailer. I think it looks really delightful. We'll see how it goes as they get into it. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to see the trailer for The Marvels. I still feel it's too early to have dropped it. There must be a reason why they did it. But that aside, what did you think about the trailer?
I feel like we're getting this to give us that little bolster into the Marvel universe of, hey, no, we've got some good stuff coming, because there has just been a lot of, discussion about where we are with Marvel. If there's superhero fatigue, if things are being oversaturated, yada, yada, yada. I think this is kind of a vote of confidence of, oh, look, we've got this really fun thing happening where a post-credit scene is finally paying off. You are finally seeing that scene come to fruition and making sense. And it's not just more puzzle pieces along the way, right? Like, we still don't know everything with some other things that have happened in there. It's really, really nice to see something actually happening and being connected in Marvel. That being said, Iman Vellani is the best thing in this trailer. Her moment with Goose is so good. It's so good. I love that Flurkin. I love him so much. I'm really excited to have him back in the mix. Samuel Jackson is just perpetually exasperated in this, and that is one of my favorite versions of him. I love exasperated Samuel Jackson. So I think this is going to be a really, really interesting look at these three characters. I really enjoy this dynamic too. I love that Iman is giving us those kind of Peter Parker plucky vibes as we got to in her own show. I'm so happy the whole family's back too, because that familial dynamic really, really made Ms. Marvel.
I agree.
That was so great. It was the beating heart and soul of that show. And to have them front and center again is so, so wonderful. And I love that it does look like we're positioning more around her and having her kind of be our window character. And like we've talked about so many times, we've been missing boots on the ground. That was one of the greatest things about Ms. Marvel, was having it be in a city, having familial issues, having things that are, personal stakes involved in crime fighting and all this stuff. And while we're doing a celestial storyline where we're going to space and there's a whole bunch of other things happening, it's so nice to have everyday people involved in a Marvel story. I've been missing that.
And you know what I've been missing? I don't know what the last thing I was. I honestly, I don't know what the last Marvel thing that came out that I legitimately loved. I might have to go back all the way
Ms.
back
Marvel.
I think Ms. Marvel was it. I mean, because She-Hulk didn't do it for me, and Moon Knight didn't do it for me. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania certainly didn't do it for me. So I'm really in a position that we got Guardians 3 coming out, we got Secret Invasion, and we got the Marvels. And these three things all look really good. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I need that. But I'll tell you what, going back, you're talking about how the heart of the Ms. Marvel thing and why I love seeing the family in this. If you've watched my show for any period of time, you know that one of my all-time favorite emotionally anchoring scenes, beautiful moments to me of any comic book movie in history is, surprise, surprise, from Man of Steel, when a young Clark Kent, finding out that he's an alien, saying to Pa Kent, Kevin Costner, "Can't we just keep pretending I'm your son?" And I'm getting emotional right now just thinking about it. Kevin Costner, in one of the best moments of any comic book movie ever, takes him into his arms, and just the way he says it, "You are my son," right? A little different because it's lighter in tone. But there's a moment in Ms. Marvel when I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. When she's wanting to go to Avengers Con and they're like, no, like you can't go to Avengers Con, but they see how much it means to her and blah, blah, blah. And the dad comes in humiliating himself, dressed up like the Hulk. I remember when that happened, and it's a funny moment in the show, right? Like, it's meant to make us laugh and funny. Oh my God, you pulled out the picture of it. But when he comes in, because you know what? We said no, but we're going to find a way to make you go. And he embarrasses himself. He's willing to do this. The dad comes in dressed up like the Hulk because he loves his daughter. I'm fucking getting emotional thinking about it. It is such a beautiful moment to me. It's these little things like that, right? And then when oh my God, it's like, I fucking hate kids. Because when she it's like, no, you're embarrassing me, whatever. And like, you tell the dad he did this out of pure love for his daughter, and she shoots him down like, fuck kids, they're all useless. But I mean, oh my God, I'm on the verge of my eyes watering up right now, just thinking about that scene. It's just so beautiful to me. And if they can maintain that kind of heart, bringing in the action of the higher scale, higher stakes MCU world of like the galactic spanning Captain Marvel and stuff like that, if they can crack the code and bring all of those elements together, and I'm not saying they will, okay? I'm not saying they will be able to achieve it. I'm saying if they can, we could have a very special movie on our hands.
Oh, yeah.
If they do it. I don't know if they can, because that's a tough code to crack.
I hope they do. I do want to point out, the chat corrected me here. They were like, I thought you liked Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night was something I loved.
Yeah. Even Werewolf by Night, I will say, which I liked more than Moon Knight. I liked more, obviously, than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I liked more than She-Hulk and all that kind of stuff. I quite liked it. I wouldn't say that I loved it on the way that I love Shang-Chi or Ms. Marvel, stuff like that. But it was really good. It was really, really good.
Really enjoyed it.
Oh, and of course, then there was the other special, James Gunn's.
The Christmas special was also
the
really
Christmas
fantastic.
special is my favorite
that was
holiday
really, really
special
well
ever.
done.
But I need some good wins from Marvel right now.
Ms. Marvel, though, was the chef's kiss moment for Disney Plus.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Did you guys have a chance to see the trailer for the Marvels? I quite liked it. Again, it's not the best trailer of the year or anything, but it's a different tone than I thought it was going to be. And that's kind of a good thing. I thought it felt really good. And I think Iman Vellani, good Canadian girl, is going to probably steal this thing. What did you guys think about it? Maybe you got no hope for it whatsoever. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to move on and take your questions. By the way, I did an open mic yesterday, and for whatever reason, Stream Elements didn't refresh quickly enough, and we missed out on some of the super chats that were sent in for our open mic yesterday. Well, we're going to start off our question period here by going back and answering those questions that got sent in yesterday, and then we'll pick up with the current questions. But before we get to that, we're going to take just a moment and thank a couple of more sponsors of today's show, the great folks at Rocket Money and my mobile service provider, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, Rocket Money. The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions. Think about that. If you think you're only subscribed to a handful of services, you might want to double check. With Rocket Money, you can quickly identify and cancel all of your unwanted subscriptions. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want and don't even use. Simply find the subscription you don't want and press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as the click of a button. My wife Ann and I moved out of Burbank 2 years ago, and one of the first things I discovered when I loaded up Rocket Money was that I was still paying for a gym membership I haven't even been to in Burbank in 2 years. So stop throwing away your money. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Campea. That's rocketmoney.com/Campea. rocketmoney.com/Campea. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Rocket Money and Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that all down, let's get to your questions, shall we? Again, we're going to start off by picking up with where we left off in the questions we missed on the open mic yesterday. We got a few of those, so let's get to those right now. Chris, what do we got?
So we have from Deadpool's Unicorn.
Ooh.
Oh, no. Almost $20 super chat.
Thank you,
so
Deadpool's
much.
Unicorn.
I liked Shazam 2, but really found it jarring that Levi acted more like a kid than the kid. Also, knowing Black Adam probably never was showing up hurt my excitement for the sequel as they teased it in the first movie.
They did tease it in the first movie in two different ways. Number one, when the wizard was telling them the story of our first champion, and you literally saw like the representation of the Rock show up. And then at the end, when they mentioned the empty throne. So they did kind of tease it. They didn't overtly do it. There was that. With the Zach Levi stuff, here's the thing. I think Zach Levi acted just like the kid. The difference is the kid version of Billy was never in the circumstances that Zach Levi's version of him was in. And I think if they were in the same circumstances, like I think if the Billy was represented in the same circumstances that Shazam was represented in, I think he would have acted that way. I like the movie quite a bit, Shazam 2. Not as much as the first one, but it is one of the biggest flops in superhero movie history. And it deserved better. It deserved better. All right. Thank you so much again. And thank you for supporting our channel on that level, man. Appreciate that very much, dude. All right. What's next?
From Big Mouth Stan. So if a new Star Wars with Rey is coming, does that mean Finn and Kylo Ren will make an appearance in that film as well? Well, not Kylo Ren.
Yeah, not I mean, look, it is Star Wars. You could force ghost it, all that kind of stuff if you want. I don't think they will bring in, though. I don't think we're going to see, certainly not Finn. I mean, I think John Boyega has made that pretty clear. I think Boyega has burned some bridges there. And I don't think he would have no desire to go back. And like I said, I think he burned bridges. As far as Poe, it's possible, but what would he have to do with the formation, rebuilding the Jedi Order and stuff like that? So I'm going to guess no, but I suppose it's possible. Not for Finn, but maybe for Poe. Maybe. All right, what's next?
We have the Deadpool's Unicorn right there.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Deadpool's Unicorn, what a knockout by Izzy. Truly one of the best.
It was a great knockout. It wasn't one of the best. But it was a very, very good knockout. Very exciting knockout. Like, came out of nowhere, especially because he was losing that fight. But yeah, it was a good one. All right, what's next?
From Kia Street, at Star Wars Celebration, it was clear how much focus is on Ahsoka for Filoni in particular. With that lens, wondering if you think that has any impact on Mando Season 3.
Maybe. I mean, look, I've always said one of my criticisms, and I think Dave Filoni is going to end up being a fabulous live action director at some point. I don't think he's there yet, but he's done everything right as far as developing himself as a live action director. I think he's going to be terrific. My one knock on Filoni has always been his absolute complete obsession with the Ahsoka character, and everything's got to be about Ahsoka. That to me is a bit of a turnoff. It already has had an impact on Mandalorian, but not in a negative way. And like I said, I think the trailer for Ahsoka, the new series, looks fantastic. And I'm actually shocked how excited I am for this series. I think it looks great. But will he be able to say, look, you are here to be one of the stewards of Star Wars, not Ahsoka and friends. And I really do hope that we see him move in that direction. Like, hey, look, if you like the Ahsoka character, and I love what I'm seeing right now with the new show, that's great. But you've got a universe here. And not everything should just revolve around this one secondary character. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think he's growing in leaps and bounds, and I think he'll be able to do that. All right, what's next?
From Never Lose Your Nerd, I love Ahsoka and the trailer was awesome. I'm a huge fan of the Rey character too, and I'm in the minority, but think Kylo Ren is overrated.
I don't think you're in the minority at all. I like the Kylo Ren character, I do, but I don't think you're going to find a ton of people that love the Kylo Ren character. I think it's a character that has a lot of upside and some downside. But again, I with how divisive the sequel series was, I don't think you're in that big of a minority when you say that you think he's overrated. All right, what's next?
From Raiders 2739. What's up, man? You made a vid about Grant Gustin being somehow involved in the Flash DCU future. Have you heard anything new on that? Love from Ireland.
I don't think I did any video on him being in the future. I think we might have done a video talking about the possibility of Grant Gustin.
You usually have been staunchly Grant Gustin is not going to be the cinematic.
Well,
Barry
he's
Allen.
definitely not going to be the new Flash.
Yeah.
100% he's not going to be the new Flash. Like whoever they move on to after Ezra Miller, it's not going to be Grant Gustin. But could Grant Gustin appear in the new series or in the new movie or in an upcoming version? Sure he can. Look, when you go back to that really bad Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover CW series that they did, the very fact that Ezra Miller popped up into it, that opens a lot of possibilities. Now, whether you liked or didn't like that is kind of irrelevant. What is relevant is that they did it. And by doing it, it opens the door to them doing something with Grant Gustin popping up too, to say hello. Not as becoming the new Flash. They're never going to do that, nor should they. But I think he definitely could pop up in there. All right, what's next?
From Toby Clough. Hey, John, did you see Air? And what's your favorite Affleck-directed movie? He's my favorite actor and a fantastic director. Thanks for all you do.
I love Ben Affleck. I have unabashed from the day they announced him as being the new Batman. And I was one of the only people online that was actually excited by that news. I am a huge Ben Affleck fan, unabashedly. I make no apologies for it. And he is a phenomenal director. I have not seen Air yet. You know, I thought about seeing this past weekend, but then Ann and I decided to go out of town. So I'm hoping, and then, well, I'm not going to see it tonight because the Lakers have a play-in game tonight. So maybe tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, I'll finally have a chance to go see Air. My favorite movie directed by him, I mean, no, I know it sounds like a cop-out because it won the Academy Award for Best Picture, but Argo is a remarkable movie. So is The Town, so is Gone Baby Gone. I mean, but all of them look great. I mean, all of his movies are great. So, but I'm going to go Argo. All right, what's next?
From Red One Real Talk. John, that last episode of Succession was insane. Was not prepared for... Oh, are we going to see a spoiler?
Oh, wait.
What happened, and the rest of the season is even more intriguing now.
Yeah, no, I have not started on Succession season 3 yet. But I did read what happened in episode 3. And yeah, completely shocking. Completely shocking and surprising. And how they kept that a secret is beyond me. Anne has already started on it, but now she's waiting for me to get caught up. So I will get caught up on it soon. But yeah, and by the way, the last episode set a franchise record for most views of it. So let's see if it builds on that. All right, what's next?
From Deadpool's Unicorn again. Any more news on the Yellowstone drama and if they are in fact replacing Costner with Matthew?
Well, it's important to keep in mind, semantics matter here. They would not be replacing Kevin Costner with Matthew McConaughey because, you know, if Matthew McConaughey does come in, he's not suddenly going to be playing John Dutton. He would be playing a different character, a new character. Listen, I've been reading about more and more about all this because, of course, Yellowstone is one of my favorite things on television. I'm obsessed with this show. For Christmas, Ray actually got me this Yellowstone shirt, which is pretty baller. I love this show, but I mean, apparently there have been a lot of problems with Kevin Costner. And again, I'm not speaking from firsthand knowledge. This is just all from the reports and everything that I've been reading, but apparently there have been a lot of issues with Kevin Costner. Nothing that, you know, would be something like, oh, he's a monster of a person. No, but maybe kind of difficult to work with. And depending on which parts are true and which parts are not, I don't know. Look, they know they have a entertainment world kind of changing show on their hands with Yellowstone. They can build and have built an entire quote unquote cinematic universe around it with Yellowstone spinoffs and, you know, between 1883, 1923 and other plans that they have. And they know at the heart of that is this character, John Dutton, and they're going to do their best to try to make it work. And I think Kevin Costner knows too that I don't think he knows he'll never have a bigger character to play after this for the rest of his career. He's like the headline performer in possibly the headline show on television right now. So I haven't heard anything new, but to me, no news is good news. To me, that tells me they're still working on it. They're going to try to make it happen, but it's going to take both of them. This isn't a matter of, well, Paramount better make this work. Listen, it takes two to dance, and that means Kevin Costner is going to have to want to make it work too. So I hope they do. I hope they do. All right, what's next?
From Young Midoriya, the Marvel's trailer confirmed for tomorrow. What are your expectations?
In honor of the name, I will answer that as Midoriya. Oh my God, a new trailer for the Marvels is coming out. God, I hate that character so much.
I love him.
That character alone is almost enough to turn me off anime. That character is so annoying. But at any rate, obviously this was a question that was sent in yesterday. I really enjoyed the trailer. Again, not best trailer of the year or anything like that, but I did enjoy it a lot. All right, what's next?
From Bailey Fuller, loving that Renfield is coming out to good reviews.
Oh my God, me too. Because I'm not going to lie to you. Despite the fact that I thought the trailers looked good, I fully expected terrible reviews. Much like Pooh, Blood, and Honey. Were trailers that I really had a lot of fun with, but I was expecting bad reviews. I think, come on, everybody knew the reviews were going to be bad. I didn't think they were going to be record-breakingly bad, and so with Renfield, I thought the same thing. I thought, well, I'm loving the trailers. I think this looks like fun, but I expect that it's probably not all that good. I love seeing that we're getting good reviews. Love it. All right, what's next?
Blood and Honey and Renfield in the same breath. Fangblaze 71. Imagine Gunn is trolling us and all the Guardians die except Rocket. Honestly, I'd be happy.
Now, let's be clear here.
That sucks.
James Gunn has not said Rocket dies in this movie.
No, it's just all the marketing makes me think it.
The marketing definitely makes it look like this is going to be Rocket's moment. This is going to be, but it's everybody else saying that Rocket's going to die.
Yeah.
And now he very well may die in this movie. I kind of expect it. But it's all of us, you guys watching, it's everybody else that's saying Rocket's going to die. It ain't James Gunn saying he's going to die. So, but listen, I'll go out on this. I've got a prediction. I don't think just one of these characters is going to die. I think probably two of them are going to die. Which ones? Rocket and I don't know, it might be Peter. I mean, we know Dave Bautista's never coming back, so it might be Drax. I don't know. We'll see. All right, what's next?
From World of Football, big congrats to Ryan Reynolds and Wrexham on a huge 3-2 win on Notts County today. Now very close to automatic promotion to the third tier in England.
I will tell you what, thanks to somebody, Ann and I just got our tickets for Wrexham versus Manchester United. They're going to be playing a game in San Diego in a couple of months. And we got tickets to go see it. And I went to my first ever soccer game. I played soccer as a kid, but I mean, gone to my first competitive league soccer game. I went to go watch LAFC. Had a great time at it. It was an experience going to that game. And I'm very, very, very excited about going to go see Manchester United versus Wrexham.
Ooh.
I am told, because I know nothing about soccer, I am told that Manchester United will destroy them. Okay. But it's going to be good to see Wrexham play like. Because if you haven't watched Welcome to Wrexham,
so good.
And listen, I say this with the full disclaimer and understanding that Ryan Reynolds has been one of the major sponsors of our show for quite a while now. But you know, when he puts out garbage like Red Notice, I will call it as such. But Welcome to Wrexham is so good, and I'm not even a soccer fan. And I loved that series. You should definitely watch it if you haven't tried it yet.
Well, it explains sports in such a great way because
Yes.
y'all know I don't understand them. I don't watch them. And when you watch that show, you understand how intrinsically tied football is to that community and how it allows people to communicate with one another in a way that makes them feel more comfortable at sharing their emotions. It makes them feel so proud about where they're from. It's this whole thing that's just so interwoven into the zeitgeist. And it's such a great look at it.
All right, what's next?
From Fangblaze 71, both Guardians movies are in my top 10 movies of all time.
Oh, wow.
So I had to get myself a ticket for the marathon. Never got to see the first one in theaters, so I'm extremely excited.
Oh, man. I still remember I went to this special event where they showed literally they had this event where you could go to the theater and watch 12 minutes of Guardians of the Galaxy. This is before the first movie came out. And I went and I was blown away by it. I like Guardians 2 very much, but I don't think it's as good as the first one. I love the holiday special. Cannot wait for Guardians 3. I can't go do the marathon to watch Guardians 3. I'm probably not going to do that. But if you've never seen the first Guardians on the big screen, Fangblaze, that's a worthwhile thing to do. I think you're going to have a really, really good time. All right, what's next?
From Anonymous. Hi, John. Did you watch Succession Season 4, Episode 3? Best episode on TV. Better than Last of Us Episode 3, in my opinion. I relate to the episode a lot. What did you think of it? And are you going to do a review of Succession on Mondays?
No, we're not doing after shows anymore. I pulled the plug on after shows, but I have not seen, again, I have not started watching Succession season 3. Now, again, I say this as somebody who's not watched the episode yet, so I cannot say this definitively. I do have a hard time believing it's as good as The Last of Us episode 3, because that was simply one of the best episodes of television I've seen in years. But if it is, that'll be pretty damn good. All right, what's next?
From Miguel Zion. Hey, John. Hello from Toronto. Over under 30%, we get MCU Fantastic Forecast this Comic-Con. Honestly, I would have preferred John Watts helming instead of Shackman. Just think he has much more cinematic style. John, do you have news or scoop on Fantastic Four that we haven't heard or seen?
No, not at this point. And I'll definitely go over 30% that we're going to get some information at Comic-Con. Like I think I'll go one better. I'll go 75% that we will. Now, as far as John Watts and Shackman, I cannot say that he has more of a cinematic style than Shackman does, because Shackman, the only real thing that a lot of us know Shackman from is of course WandaVision, which was breathtakingly good. The guy knows how to tell a great story, because really, if you sit down and read the Coles Notes, what do you call it here in the States?
Cliff
Notes.
You call it Cliff Notes here? Yeah, we'll go with Coles Notes, the superior Canadian way.
Who's Cole?
Kenneth Cole.
Some guy who know how to abbreviate things better than Cliff did.
It's Cold Sore Cole.
Yeah, Cold Sore Cole. Cold Sore Cole.
Spent too much
It's
time with
Cole. The Cliff Notes for my American friends. If you look at the Cliff Notes of WandaVision, that's a very difficult thing to bring to a screen and make it compelling, and he did it. Now, look, was I very excited about John Watts doing Fantastic Four? Absolutely, I was. For those of you who don't know, John Watts is the guy who directed the recent Spider-Man movies.
Right.
Far From Home, No Way Home, and Homecoming. He directed all of them and did a magnificent job on them. Now, of course, he decided to go and do the Star Wars series, Skeleton Crew. So he's doing that, but getting Matt Shackman in there to do that was a great replacement for Watts. So I think they're going to get something special. But yeah, 70% we get some cast announcements. All right, what's next?
From Brandon Salad, sending in a $20 tip there.
Thank you, Brandon, for that support, man.
Hi, John and crew. Truly grateful listening to you all chat about film and TV. Always brightens my day. Thank you. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have seen D&D. Such a wonderful surprise. I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of it.
You know, it is one of the best things doing a job like this when we hear from other members of our community who say, hey, I never even heard of that, and I went and checked it out and I loved it. I love hearing that. And it's not just when it comes from us. Like, even when people in the chat say, hey, have you guys seen this? And they bring up something that's maybe a little bit more obscure. And then we hear from other community members say, hey, I remember somebody wrote in and asked about this movie or this show, and I watched it and I loved it. Like, that is one of the best things about being a part of a community like this, is when stuff like that happens. And if you heard about D&D or got motivated to see Dungeons & Dragons as a result of either us talking about it or other fans in the live chat talking about it, and you went and had a positive experience, like, that is seriously one of the best things for us doing shows like this, is to hear about stuff like that. So thank you for sharing your experience, man. Appreciate that. All right, what's next?
From Jeremy, hey, John, have you caught up with Succession? This is shaping up to be the best season yet.
Again, not yet, but I hope I will get to it very, very soon. Anna's waiting for me now so I can get caught up. All right, what's next?
From best Ben Affleck movie is Paycheck.
Oh, no.
100%. Oh, sorry. From Grant Gustin. Grant Gustin Stan. What's up, John? Love from Ireland. You had a video. Oh, no, we already did this one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it came through twice.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
All right, well.
So, Dora for UK. Best Ben Affleck movie is Paycheck. 100%, in my opinion.
I mean, of course, that goes without saying. Although that is disqualified because he did not direct that one. Maybe in spirit he did, but he did not. And of course, what was the other one? Reindeer Games. Reindeer Games
is good.
has to rank right up. By the way, have any of you guys watched this new Stephen Yu Ali Wong show, Beef?
No, but I want to. I'm so excited about it.
I'm hearing insane things about it. Like, it's just great. Now, the reason I bring that up, because they just brought up Ben Affleck, it sounds a lot to me like a slightly funnier version of Ben Affleck, Samuel L. Jackson's movie Changing Lanes, which is a criminally underwatched movie. That is a great movie. And this Beef kind of looks like that a little bit. So
kind of similar in premise, I suppose. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
I don't think you heard Jonathan's pick. What was it?
Geely.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
all I did was glare.
That's all-time classic, of course. Everybody knows that one.
Everybody
Everybody loves Geely. I mean, it led to J-Lo and Ben getting
They're
married.
back
Come on.
together, so
That's true. That's true.
Good luck.
All right,
Movie
what's
brought
next?
people together. From Jabin Carter, one of two. Personally, I think there's a lot of potential with a Rey Skywalker movie. Maybe they borrow from the Bloodline book storylines. Here's how I can see it going. 15 years on, Rey has started a new Jedi Order and so far has been successful, but then word gets out that she's not actually a Skywalker, but a Palpatine. She has lied about who she is, and the Republic is not sure if they can trust her, and even her pupils begin to turn on her, and that's where things begin to get dicey. Just an idea. We'll see.
You know, so for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, there is a novel, I think Claudia Gray wrote it too, the same Claudia Gray who wrote one of the best Star Wars novels ever called Lost Stars. And she wrote another book about, well, it's about more than just Princess Leia, but it's kind of focused after the events of Return of the Jedi, the New Republic, all that kind of stuff. And the universe finds out that Leia is actually Darth Vader's daughter. And in the book, she's on basically a track where she's going to become the chancellor of the New Republic, but her political career gets completely derailed when the universe finds out, somebody leaks that she was actually Vader's daughter. And that ends her political career.
Wasn't it Bloodline?
Yeah, what did I say?
Well, no, we never said it. You
Oh
said
yeah,
she
it's in the
Lost
question.
Person.
It's in the question.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's the name of that's the novel that they're mentioning, Bloodlines. And that's something like that with Rey, sure, but I can't see Rey lying about it. I don't know that Rey, not being a political figure, I don't know, because honestly, finding out that she's the descendant of a Palpatine, that almost gives her credibility as somebody who then destroyed Palpatine. But I mean, it would be something that could apply if they decided to do it. All right, what's next?
From Suthius. Okay. It's been almost 10 years since Big Hero 6. It made almost $700 million and had around a 90% Rotten Tomatoes score with both critics and audiences. Why exactly hasn't there been a sequel? But then again, Disney spaces out their potential sequels light years in between. There was a television show, though.
Yes,
and
there was.
No one's watching it.
Nope.
No one watched it.
I heard that so-and-so gets season 3. I'm like, I didn't even know that show existed.
Yeah.
Because what's the name of the robot?
Betamax.
Betamax.
Or Baymax.
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 Not Betamax.
Betamax.
That is
That's different.
videotape format.
Baymax.
Baymax. Listen, I'll tell you what. I love Big Hero 6. I love that movie. And I have no idea why they never... Now, look, there was some drama that came up with, what's the dude's name from Deadpool?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, TJ.
TJ Miller.
TJ, there was some drama
Maxx.
that
TJ
came over with
Maxx.
TJ Miller. There was also some
Baymax,
like
TJ
not
Baymax.
criminal drama, but like some minor drama that came up with the directors of the film too.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know, but that was a movie that was ripe to franchise. Big Hero 6. Why they went the route of a stupid TV show, I'm not really sure. But that is one that should have had a sequel. I don't think we'll ever get one now, to be honest with you. I think that the window for that is closed. I hope they do, because I really love the first one.
I really wanted the promise of TJ Miller's character and his dad, Stan
Lee,
working together. That bummed me out. Also, wildly different than the Big Hero 6 comics.
Oh yeah,
So
completely
different.
different. Completely
Because
different.
Baymax is more like a gargoyle-ish kind of thing. Right?
Well, he is. Yeah. The TJ Miller character is like a full-on monster and stuff. It's wild.
But it is not, I mean, it is loosely inspired by the Big Heroes, but it is not the same as the comic one
I
at
covered
all.
the red carpet for AMC on that one.
That's right, we did. All right, what's next?
From Chris. With the Rey movie, a film YouTuber brought up that even if it's great, it's frustrating for fans that they have Luke fail at rebuilding the Order, but Rey succeed, as fans wanted to see Luke do it. I think he has a point, so it's really a no-win situation.
I don't know. I know it's an older movie now, so a lot of you guys watching maybe haven't seen it. But there's a movie called Misery with James Caan and the head of Sabre in The Office.
Right.
Academy
Kathy Bates.
who won an Academy Award for this movie, by the way. And I think it should be a prerequisite for film fans to watch this movie. Not because I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time. It's a very, very, very good movie. But because Kathy Bates's character in the movie Misery, sadly and unfortunately, kind of represents a lot of movie fans today. Because the basic gist of it is this. James Caan is a world famous author who has this character, this series of books based on this character named Misery. And he's decided to end the series, and I believe he has Misery die in it. He ends up in a car accident and ends up being taken care of by this wild fan, played by Kathy Bates, who, since he was out cold and he had the transcript of the newest Misery book, she decides to read it and becomes outraged because he did something to the character that she didn't want to have happen to the character. And craziness ensues. I don't believe at all that, this shot. Seriously, guys, if you guys have seen Misery, this is like one of the most disturbing things ever shot in Hollywood.
Oof.
Ever shot in Hollywood. But one of the big problems with movie fandom today is the rampant entitlement. That fans have started to develop what they want to have happen. And if storytellers don't do what they wanted it to do, then they immediately discount it and they immediately write it off. Listen, nobody had grander visions. I don't know if you guys remember the old episode of Movie Talk that I did when I talked about what I want to see Luke do in The Last Jedi, right? I had this whole scenario played out about battalions of stormtroopers surrounding Luke, and he pulls out his lightsaber and he wrecks fools. And I nobody wanted that more than me. But as movie fans, we become so attached to what we want that we rob ourselves of the stories that get told. And I thought, while they did not give me the Luke stuff that I wanted, I thought they told a pretty compelling and heartbreaking story about Luke that tied in directly to his history and his past as a character. And, sometimes movies and TV shows do things with characters that I don't want them to do, and it doesn't work out, and I don't like it, and that's fair. But this whole idea about they didn't do what I wanted it to do, I don't know. I just, that's very 6-year-old snotty child to me. And I catch myself doing it too. And that's a frustrating thing that I think I have for all of us, including myself and all of us as film fans, is that we develop this entitlement. We get married to the idea of what we want that movie to do. And storytellers may go, we got something a little deeper or a little different that we want to try and do. And listen, some of the greatest things in movies and TV shows that have ever happened is when storytellers break away from what the fans wanted to see. Then go write your own. I mean, and I have to tell myself this too, because I'm as guilty as this as anybody else. Go write your own damn fan fiction then. And I've had to tell myself that before. It is what it is. All right, what's next?
From Gandalf's Ear. Didn't mean to offend OT fans with my previous comment, but I really find the original trilogy overrated and the main characters boring. I think Knights of the Old Republic stories and characters are superior to George Lucas's. EU writers understand depth. Extended universe writers.
Some of the greatest garbage I've ever read was the extended universe, to be honest with you. There's some really great stuff like the Heir to the Empire series, the Uzang Vong. There is some great stuff in the extended universe, but some of the most awful, rippingly terrible garbage I've ever read was out of the EU too. But this is the great thing about stories, is that, okay, maybe you think that the original Star Wars trilogy is overrated. That's fine. The great thing about stories and the art is that it hits us all in different ways. And that might mean for you that you read the extended universe stuff and it resonates with you better than the original trilogy does. And maybe the original trilogy doesn't work for you and all that kind of, and that's fine because we're all unique individuals and the stories we hear and read hits us in different ways. So yeah, to me, the original trilogy is the greatest thing ever done by mankind, but that doesn't mean it has to be that for you. And that's just a really good example about how art hits us all in different ways. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher. I was never a big fan of the name change from Captain Marvel 2 to the Marvels. But if Carol, Monica, and Kamala are really all equals in this movie, like the trailer suggests, then the change was needed. Carol doesn't even look like the MC here, the main character.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling it still will. I think the movie will play out where Carol, who is the most powerful of the three, that Carol will probably end up being if you had to say which one was the main character, I bet by the end of the movie, we'll probably say it was Carol. That being said, it does look more like an ensemble movie right now. And I still think Iman Vellani will steal this movie. At least she steals the trailer for me. We'll see how that all goes. But I think you're right. At the end of the day, I would have been fine if they kept the name Captain Marvel 2. But I'm good with them changing it to the Marvels. And after watching the trailer, it does feel more appropriate. You're right. All right, what's next?
From Suthius, whether she's Kree or not, the villain of the Marvels seems to be an accuser.
Yes.
She wields a similar staff to the like Ronan, and it looks like she has on the other half of Kamala's bangle. I hope they give her a good character story and not just be a physical threat.
I did not know. Do you have that? You brought up an image a little bit earlier, Jonathan. You may not have it available right now. I did not notice that she's wearing something that looks like Kamala's bangle.
Did you know that actress is Tom Hiddleston's fiance?
Yeah.
Oh, the one playing the accuser?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not.
We had her I had a picture of her on the back screen. If you want to go back.
I got it right here.
Oh, you got it? Where she's standing? Yeah, that one.
Oh, on her wrist.
Is that does
I mean,
that?
I don't know. It could be the technology. It's not a bangle, but it could be technology.
Yeah, I don't know that looks terribly similar to the one
She
that.
looks happier than Ronan.
she looks like she's having a good time. All right, what's next?
From Jesse as a turtle, it looks like they're trying to abandon Ms. Marvel's eyepiece mask she has. I really liked it, and even though it doesn't do anything narratively, I wish they would have kept that part on her in here.
I'll be honest with you, I could totally do without the mask. For two things. Number one, Captain Marvel really in the MCU does not seem to have a secret identity, so there's really no need for the mask. And I mean, when you've got Brie Larson, Academy Award winning, gorgeously beautiful Brie Larson, and the mask, and it's a character that doesn't have a secret identity. Yeah, I personally think it was the right decision to go without the mask. But who knows? Like, listen, she's already sported many different looks, right? In her limited time in the MCU, from the Mohawk look to the mask idea to the no mask idea. I'm good if they go without it, though. It doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, to be honest, if this Family Stallone show is anything like that podcast interview with Sly's daughter, just giving him shit for 10 hours, I'm all in. Also, I had no idea the girl hired to take care of the horse in Tulsa King was Sly's in real life daughter.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that. Although it was, for those of you who don't know, we were going to do it as a topic today, but we decided to drop it.
Or don't care.
The trailer for, or don't care. A trailer came out for a brand new reality TV show about Sylvester Stallone's family called The Family Stallone, right? The Family Stallone. And it looks terrible. It looks terrible. I mean, first of all, there's a scene in the trailer. This is what has to do with what he brought up. There's a scene in the trailer where the daughter, one of the daughters, goes, "Oh my God." She gets on the phone. "I got the part." I'm like, "Oh, she's not." And then they show a clip of Tulsa King. I'm like, well, gee, I wonder how you got that part. Your dad's the star of the show. But then again, it is a Taylor Sheridan show, and so Stallone wasn't in charge of it. So maybe there was a little bit of, hey, you know what? Maybe she did have to win somebody over in order to get the role. I'll give it that. Anyway, the show doesn't look all that good. The podcast, though, that Stallone's daughters do is actually really fun. And my first episode that I checked out of that podcast was when they had their dad on. They had Sylvester on. And you're right. It's really fun watching these girls who apparently have their dad wrapped around their finger, like giving Stallone, who is a hard ass to work with in Hollywood and one of the biggest stars in history and all that kind of stuff, and watching maybe the only people in the world who can sit there and give him shit and give him a hard time for an hour do it. It was pretty fun. It's pretty funny. All right, what's next?
That's it.
Oh, and that's it? Guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to you guys who sent in those tip questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Hey guys, don't forget to come on back and join us for tomorrow's episode of the John Campea Show. We'll look forward to seeing you then. And until then, I want to say thank you to everybody who's in the studio. Ray Ora back there. We got Taylor Gonzalez, Jonathan Voico running the show as always, the delightful Chris Carr, and you guys. Thanks for being here, making the show part of your day. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.